As you wish.
The Princess Bride looks like a perfect fairy tale, but behind the sword fights and true love, there was absolute chaos. The author almost walked away. The studio hated the script. One actor got knocked unconscious for real on camera, and the film that nobody wanted became the movie everyone quotes. These are 16 weird facts about The Princess Bride that prove sometimes the best stories are born from disaster. Let's storm the castle.
You will not find her common now.
Fact number 1. Nobody wanted this movie. William Goldman had already won 2 Oscars. His novel, The Princess Bride, was beloved by readers everywhere. The screenplay was sitting right there, practically gift-wrapped, and every single studio in Hollywood turned it down. Too weird, they said. Too niche. Impossible to market. Goldman was heartbroken. The project gathered dust for years until Rob Reiner, fresh off the success of This Is Spinal Tap, read the book and called it one of the greatest stories ever told. Reiner didn't want to adapt it. He wanted to protect it. He met with Goldman, promised to honor every quirk, every shift between grandfather and grandson, every wink at the camera that other directors couldn't figure out. Goldman handed over the rights, and just like that, the storybook opened again. Fact number 2. Getting greenlit was just the beginning of the fight. Studio executives hated the structure. They didn't understand why the movie kept cutting away from the fantasy to show a sick kid in bed with his grandfather. Too confusing, they insisted. Too risky. They wanted one timeline, one world, no interruptions, no framing device. William Goldman snapped. He threatened to walk away completely. If they touched the grandfather and grandson scenes, he said, they could make the movie without him. Rob Reiner backed him up hard, and the framing story survived. That decision saved the movie, because The Princess Bride wasn't just about sword fights and adventure. It was about how stories get passed down from generation to generation. And without that heartbeat, the whole thing would have collapsed. Fact number 3. Finding Westley nearly broke them. They searched for months, hundreds of headshots, endless auditions, actors who were close but never quite right. The role needed charm, wit, and something ageless. Then Cary Elwes walked into the room. British, charismatic, maybe a little too handsome for his own good. He didn't audition, he didn't need to. One conversation with Reiner and Goldman and they knew. The moment Elwes left, Reiner turned to his team and said, "That's him. That's our farm boy, our pirate, our hero." And just like that, Westley had a face. Fact number 4. Cary Elwes broke his toe in the stupidest way possible. Off camera, Andre the Giant had this massive, all-terrain vehicle he loved driving around the set. One day, Elwes made the mistake of climbing on. One bad move, one wheel in the wrong place, and his big toe snapped clean. There was no time to reshoot. No stunt double could step in, so Elwes did what Westley would do. He limped through the pain, adjusted his stance, and hid the injury on camera. The fire swamp, the torture scene, the climactic sword fight, that's a man acting on a broken foot. You'd never know it watching the movie, but behind that charming smile was pure agony. Fact number 5. Billy Crystal injured Mandy Patinkin with comedy. Billy Crystal came in like a lightning bolt to play Miracle Max. He only filmed for a single day, but he improvised like he was headlining in Vegas. Mandy Patinkin, trained, disciplined, always in control, could not hold it together. During one take, Patinkin clenched so hard trying not to laugh that he tore a muscle and bruised a rib. He could barely breathe. He later admitted it was the only injury he sustained during the entire production. Not from sword fighting, not from stunts, from Billy Crystal being too funny. It hurt to laugh, but Patinkin couldn't stop. Fact number 6. Cary Elwes got knocked out for real, and they kept the shot. It happened during Westley's capture, the moment Count Rugen knocks him unconscious with the hilt of his sword. Rehearsals went smoothly. The choreography was locked, but Elwes had a suggestion. "Hit me for real," he told Christopher Guest. "Just once. It'll sell better." Guest agreed. The sword hilt connected, and Elwes dropped like a stone. He woke up on the set floor with no memory of the fall and no memory of the cut being called. The shot they got wasn't stage fighting. That was Westley actually getting knocked out. They used it because of course they did. That dazed expression on his face, that's not acting. That's what happens when fairy tales get a little too real. Fact number 7. They almost cast someone else as Buttercup. The role was everything. She had to feel like a fairy tale, but with real pain behind her eyes. The casting calls brought in major names. Uma Thurman auditioned, Courtney Cox, Meg Ryan, all young, talented, rising fast. They brought beauty and charm, but something didn't land. Rob Reiner kept searching. Then Robin Wright walked in. She wasn't famous. She wasn't loud. She barely spoke above a whisper in her audition. But there was something in her sadness, something honest and unforced. Reiner later said the second she read the lines, they knew. She didn't play Buttercup. She was Buttercup. And that's what made the fairy tale work. Because at the heart of all the fantasy, a young woman had to be believed. Not because she was flashy, but because in a world of giants and miracles, she made true love feel real. Fact number 8. Rob Reiner had to be removed from the Miracle Max scene. Billy Crystal never said the same line twice. He riffed, he rambled, he roasted everyone within earshot, and it worked too well. Director Rob Reiner started laughing so hard during takes that he ruined the audio. The crew had to physically pull him out of the room and put him behind a monitor with muffled sound. Crystal kept going. Mandy Patinkin bruised his rib trying not to break character. And even then, they didn't stop filming because what Crystal gave them wasn't just comedy, it was chaos of the perfect kind. Fact number 9. Wallace Shawn thought he was about to be fired every single day. He was brilliant as Vicini, iconic, quotable, unforgettable, but Wallace Shawn didn't believe he belonged. When he arrived on set, he was already panicked. He'd heard rumors that Danny DeVito was the studio's first choice, and Shawn couldn't shake the fear that he was just a placeholder. Every line he delivered, he second-guessed. Every joke he cracked, he assumed they'd cut. The pressure got so bad, he had a panic attack mid-shoot. He later admitted he was convinced day after day that they were going to fire him and replace him on the spot. But what no one told him was that his voice, his rhythm, his very weirdness was exactly what made Vicini work. The man who thought he'd be replaced became the actor fans quote more than anyone else in the entire film. Fact number 10. The sword fight was real, and it nearly killed them. It wasn't just fencing. It was choreography, dialogue, performance, timing, and precision all happening at once. Cary Elwes and Mandy Patinkin trained for months with two of the best sword masters in the world. Every lunge, every flip, every flourish was rehearsed until it looked effortless. Then they shot the duel in long, unbroken takes. No stuntmen, no camera tricks. Just them sprinting upstairs, leaping off platforms, trading lines and blades like it was a stage play written in steel. The sword fight became legendary, not just for its speed or style, but because it felt honest, like two men with history and purpose. It's one of the most iconic duels in cinema history, and the actors earned every second of it. And if you're loving these behind-the-scenes disasters, do me a favor and hit that like button right now, because we're only halfway through, and the chaos is about to get even better. Fact number 11. The fire swamp was a literal furnace. It looked magical on screen. Giant rodents, flames shooting from the ground, fog rolling through twisted trees. But inside that set, it was misery. The fog machines pumped steam non-stop. The fake trees trapped heat. The rodent costumes worn by stuntmen were literal ovens. During takes, the cast could barely breathe. Cary Elwes almost passed out from heat stroke. The guy in the rat suit had to lie down between every scene just to cool off enough not to collapse. The magic on screen came at a brutal price, because in that swamp, fairy tales burned. Fact number 12. They filmed the final kiss over 30 times. It was the moment the entire story built toward. Westley and Buttercup reunited, redeemed, alive. Rob Reiner had one demand. "I want the perfect kiss," he said. "Not good, not sweet, perfect." So they filmed it once, twice, a dozen times. And still Reiner wasn't satisfied. The sun was shifting, the crew was restless. Cary Elwes and Robin Wright were starting to wonder if true love came with chapped lips. After countless passionate embraces, it was probably less about romance and more about sheer endurance. But Reiner kept pushing, because this wasn't just an ending, it was the kiss, the kind that made all the heartbreak and sword fights and fantasy worth it. They finally got it on take 30, and when they did, it wasn't loud or flashy. It landed like a lullaby, a moment so gentle and earned that it closed the fairy tale, not with fanfare, but with forever. Fact number 13. Andre the Giant couldn't actually lift anyone. He looked invincible, 7'4", over 500 pounds, a literal giant. So when Fezzik lifted people with one arm, audiences believed it. But here's the truth. Andre couldn't lift anything heavy anymore. Years of wrestling had destroyed his spine. By the time he got to the set, his back was barely holding together. He couldn't carry Robin Wright. He couldn't hoist Cary Elwes. For every effortless lift you see on screen, there were hidden cables, carefully placed rigs, stunt doubles, or just clever camera angles. The crew worked around him. The cast protected him. Fezzik wasn't strong because of his size. He was strong because he stayed even when it hurt. And for Andre, that was the most heroic thing of all. Fact number 14. Mandy Patinkin was fighting death itself. For Mandy Patinkin, Inigo Montoya's revenge wasn't just a story arc. It was personal. Patinkin lost his father to cancer when he was only 18. The pain never fully left. The grief stayed close and unresolved. So when he was cast as a swordsman who'd spent his entire life preparing to avenge his father's murder, it hit differently. During filming, he poured that pain into every moment, especially the final duel. "You killed my father. Prepare to die." He said it over and over, not just in character, but with purpose. Each repetition carried grief, fury, and love. Patinkin later confessed that in those moments, he imagined the villain as death itself, and that by defeating him, even in fiction, he could bring peace to his father's memory. It wasn't just acting, it was closure carved out with a blade. Fact number 15. The movie completely flopped in theaters. When The Princess Bride hit cinemas in 1987, it barely made a ripple. Critics liked it, but audiences didn't show up. The studio had no idea how to market it. Was it a fairy tale, a satire, a romance, a kids' movie? It vanished from theaters in weeks. But then, the VHS boom hit. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Families passed tapes around, kids memorized every line. College students turned it into a midnight favorite. Suddenly, the film the industry wrote off became something else entirely. It didn't win opening weekend. It won the decades. Because The Princess Bride wasn't built for quick box office glory. It was built to last. One quoted line and one rewound tape at a time. Fact number 16. The cast reunited in 2020 for the most wholesome reason. In 2020, the world hit pause. But in the middle of lockdowns and fear, the cast of The Princess Bride came back together. Not for a studio, not for a remake, but to raise money for COVID relief. Robin Wright, Cary Elwes, Mandy Patinkin, even director Reiner, all filmed scenes from their homes, reading the script aloud. It was awkward, grainy, and funny, but somehow just as magical as the original. Because in a year when the world needed hope, they reminded everyone what true love really looks like, even over Zoom. The Princess Bride didn't play by the rules. It didn't chase trends or pander to focus groups. At first, the world didn't know what to do with it, but love found it anyway. Now it lives in weddings, bedtime stories, and whispered quotes between generations. Not because it tried to be perfect, but because it meant something to dreamers, to fighters, to anyone who ever heard the words, "as you wish," and felt their heart skip. If this story stole your heart too, drop your favorite Princess Bride moment in the comments below, and let me know what legendary movie we should dive into next. Because the credits may be rolling, but the tale is far from over.